Hi there, and welcome to this guide to building, magnetizing and painting the UCM faction from Dropzone Commander. This is for a client commission that I'm doing, but I thought it would be useful to those that are interested, just to kind of document how I'm going about the process of putting these things together. And just try and help you guys, because I found this to be quite a challenge, and perhaps you're finding it challenging as well. So just to give you some background, my client has commissioned me to build a 1500 point UCM army for him and paint it, but he's also asked me to magnetize all of the vehicles where possible, so that he can have a fully mechanized army, so that if needs be he can mount the vehicles in the dropships. And it's just it's a nice visual spectacle. It's a nice thing to have. It's not necessary for the game as I understand it. It's just but it's a compelling visual for the game, and so that's what I've set about doing. So let's get started. So you can see in front here there's kind of a half finished condor, but that's going to help me demonstrate the magnetization that I've done. And there's three Sabre tanks. So straight off I'll just show you this. So the tank is magnetized in a couple of different ways. Now, first of all, I've magnetized the turret, so this bit detaches. You can see I've used a little magnet at the bottom there. I've just drilled in to the base of the turret just a little way to make way for that magnet. It's a 3mm diameter and it's 0.5 millimeter thick, and so it's absolutely tiny. It's about the thinnest magnet you can find, and certainly in this diameter that's the thinnest you can get. And I've also got the same magnet, same type of magnet at the bottom of the turret, and so that just clicks in quite nicely, and it means that you can turn the turret around again. Adds to the visual spectacle of the game. But it was also necessary because I agreed for the commission that in order to mount these into the dropship, we were going to have to make some compromises, and so that's what I'm going to talk about next. You'll see the rectangular magnets on the outside here. So these are my way of mounting the tanks to the dropship. And the reason I went for the rectangular magnets is, well, there's two main reasons. One is I don't like drilling into models if I can help it. It means that if you make a mistake, first of all, then you're ruining the surface of the model. Second, it adds a lot of work as well, a lot of time and work. And I'm not against doing work, I'm not afraid of doing work, but it really does add a lot of time. I suppose there's a third reason as well, and these rectangular magnets have quite a nice large surface area, and it means that they'll just be that much grippier when they're attaching to the dropship. And again, these are just 0.5 millimeter thick. Let me show you the packets. Actually, I got these magnets from a company called First for Magnets. So that's just one of the packets there. So that's the circular ones, 3mm diameter by 0.5 millimeter thick, and then the rectangular ones are these ones, so 5mm long by 2mm wide by 0.5 millimeter thick. And I've just used these two sizes throughout the entire build. Right, so conscious of time, don't want to bore you guys to death. So let's just demonstrate how this works. So I've also put the rectangular magnets on the dropship as well. And so I've got 2 on each strut, as you can see here. What I'm going to do is take off the turrets, excuse me, and this is part of the compromise. So rather than having these, rather than trying to articulate the mounts, which is even more work, so trying to pin these things so that they move around by themselves, I decided to magnetize them so that you can easily remove them and then mount them to the dropship. You can see there, well, that one's a little bit higgledy-piggledy in the middle. That's an old phrase, higgledy-piggledy, you can't even say it. But you get the idea. So these will now sit quite nicely on the dropship. In fact, the next step is to make a hole in the bottom here so that you can actually mount these on the flying stand. So yeah, so that was the Sabres and the Rapier class of tanks. Next thing I'm going to show you is the Gladius and the Bears as well. So yeah, so now we've got the Gladius tanks, which are also going to be mounting into this Condor. Mounting, is that the right word? Docking, I guess. And it doesn't matter. So they're going to be joining up with this Condor, and I've done the exact same approach as I did with the Sabres and Rapiers. And just to expand on that a little bit, I really wanted something, again, like I said, with a strong magnet, so a large surface area. But I also wanted something quite elegant and neat. And I thought this would be a good compromise, because once these are painted up, the rectangles on the surface should blend in quite nicely. You'll still be able to see them, but they should blend in to the overall model, if I've done my job right anyway. So as before, these are magnetized turrets. I went a slightly different route with this one, because although this is the same, where I've put the 3mm circular magnet into the bottom of the turret, with the Gladius, the resin is very thin at the bottom of the turret mounting here, the kind of connection here. And so instead I put the other 3mm magnet just here. And you can see that it's more than enough to hold it in, even if I shake it around. So it doesn't need to make direct contact. It will go through, it will be magnetic enough to go through thin surfaces as well. So again, if we want to put these onto the dropship, take the turrets off. Just before I do that, I'll show you the magnets. So I had to change the strut configuration here to put the Gladius on. So whereas, we grab that other Condor again so you can see for comparison. So where the Sabres and the Rapiers configuration is the first mounting point, the middle mounting point, and the very end one, for the Gladius it's a little bit different, so you have to change the strut mounting point. So you can see it's the second from the front and second from the back as well. So that's just a little bit different. So just in case you you don't want to make that mistake when you're building these things, because once they're on, and they're not going to move. The other slight change here is that I doubled up on the magnets. I don't know if you can see, but I've got 2 of the rectangular magnets, one on top of each other. I know that's kind of difficult to see there, and that's just to give it a little bit of extra strength, because these tanks are just a little bit longer and they can get just a little bit wobbly if they're not mounted correctly. So let me just demonstrate. There we go. And again, The other reason I did that was because I just hate it when you magnetize something and the thing that you're magnetizing kind of wobbles around. It's just one of my pet hates. And so that's why I doubled up on the magnets there. And you can see I can be quite rough with it and it's not shaking around at all. It's not threatening to fall off. So that is the Gladius. And I'll very quickly show you the bare Apc Carriers as well, which is the same idea. So yeah, so same idea really, I guess, except the bare APCs, we have to go on a slight angle. There's no kind of flat surface like there is on the saber or rapier, and so I've just gone as high as I can, just almost right on the line here where the top meets the slope, the sloping edge here. And I'm almost going to the end. It's probably difficult to see here, but it's just gone to the end, nearly to the end of the panel line, and that's given me a nice target to aim for when I'm placing these magnets. These on all of these magnets are just being stuck on with super glue. Nothing fancy, really. The same idea. So got the condor again. Again, I've doubled up on the magnets on the struts. So there's 2 of each of the rectangular magnets, one on top of each other, so 8 in total. And again, I'm really pleased with that, because when I was just using one magnet on the struts, so one on each side, they were really shaking around and they were threatening to fall off, and I wasn't happy, and that's what made me double up. And so I'm much happier with that. Again, just shaking these around, just almost rock solid. So really good, really pleased with that. Next up is, what shall I show you next? I think I'll show you the albatross and the ferrum.